and welcome to the news segment of Dateline. My name is Princess Modi. The federal government has said it remains committed to enhancing food and nutrition security as it prepares farmers for the 2024 wet season farming in the country. The Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Senator Abubakar Kyari, gave the assurance in Abuja while giving an update on the government's preparation for wet season farming. He said the federal government was boosting domestic production of staple crops to enhance food security in the country. Senator Kyari said the ministry would distribute 2.15 million bags of assorted fertilizers donated by the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, to Nigerian farmers, valued at over 100 billion naira. He said the fertilizers donated by the CBN comprised urea, NPK, and SSP, valued at over 100 billion naira. Senator Kyari also revealed that 500 tractors assembled by the John Deere Group were donated to the ministry to improve mechanized farming, increase production, and achieve food and nutrition security. He said the initiative aimed to catalyze farming activities and nutrition security in line with President Bola Tinubu's emergency declaration on food security. President Bola Tinubu has today congratulated the president-elect of the Republic of Chad, Mahamat Derby, on his election victory. In a statement signed by Special Advisor on Media and Publicity, Mr. Ajuri Ngelale, Tinubu assured Derby that Nigeria will continue to work closely with Chad as both countries seek to enhance peace, security, and shared prosperity for the mutual benefit of the people. That statement noted that the runner-up and main rival, Prime Minister Success Masra, who garnered only 18.5% of votes, has since contested the results. Chad's Electoral Authority released the results weeks earlier than the planned May 21 announcement. In his message to the president-elect, Tinubu affirmed that the successful conduct of elections in the nation underlines the commitment of the government and the people of Chad to democracy and orderly transitions in the region. He also called for sustained friendly cooperation between both nations while wishing the president-elect success as he undertakes this noble service to the people of Chad. Finance Minister and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Mr. Olawale Edu, has visited the Jet Motor Company assembly plant in Lagos, where compressed natural gas (CNG) buses are being assembled under the presidential CNG initiative. Disclosing this in a statement by the SSA Media and Publicity to President Bola Tinubu, Tinubu Temitope Ajayi said Jet, which is located in Lagos, is one of the 4 assembly plants picked by the PCNGI to assemble semi-knocked down components of climate-friendly CNG and electric buses and tricycles, which will soon be rolled out to slash the transportation costs. The statement noted that Jet has capacity to convert petrol buses to CNG. After going around the Jet plant on Friday, Mr. Edu expressed satisfaction about the progress of work at the assembly. He said though the PCNGI has taken time to be actualized, the benefits will soon be available to Nigerians. The Finance Minister said the PCNGI is about mass transit that is affordable, adding that 2 critical aims will be achieved. Mr. Edu said where it costs about 55,000 naira to fill a 15 to 20-seater buses with petrol, it will cost between 12 to 15,000 naira to fill a CNG bus of the same capacity. This is 3 times, if not 4 times less. This, the minister said, is a huge savings that will reduce transport costs and at the same time reduce inflation. Edu commended Jet's employment of local talents in the assembly of the vehicles. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has accused banks of colliding with point-of-sale POS operators to limit cash availability at automated teller machines, ATM. EFCC Chairman Ola Olukayode pointed an accusing finger during stakeholders' meeting with compliance officers of banks in Oyo State. Olukayode stated that illegal dealings and trading in Naira with point-of-sale POS operators must end. He pointed out that Nigerians could only withdraw a small amount of their money with the banks in automated teller machines, ATMs, while POS operators went around with huge amounts of money gotten from the banks, saying this was not fair to Nigerians and all citizens must fight it head-on. The EFCC boss warned banks' compliance officers against revealing the Commission's financial probes to their customers, stating that its investigations will be jeopardized if suspects were aware of it. He explained that when vital financial documents were withheld in favor of a client, it delayed the EFCC's efforts to access relevant exhibits needed to prosecute cases in court. Mr. Ola Olukayode assured the compliance officers of the EFCC's support as they remained relevant stakeholders in the fight against economic and financial crimes. Mothers have been admonished to be peacemakers and accommodating to everyone around them. The head pastor of the Grace and Progress Family Chapel, Asaba, Bishop Chuka Agwebu, gave the admonition in a sermon at today's service of the church. Esther Aputa reports.
Bishop Agwebo listed some qualities of an outstanding mother to include being a peacemaker, a co-trainer of children, a wise speaker, and a prayerful believer, as well as an investor in God's kingdom. Quoting from Proverbs 31 verse 10, the cleric said an outstanding mother was not a liability, but one who worked diligently with her hands. He encouraged mothers to delight in going to the house of God for worship and ensure their families did same.
Outstanding mother is a co-trainer of the children. Outstanding mother will not break her children or break her children in pieces with the words coming from her mouth. Words are like egg. Once you drop it on the ground, you can't carry it away.
Later in an interview, some worshippers, including the state head of service, Mr. Reginald Bayoko, stressed the need for mothers to build their homes and train their children in the ways of God.
Advice is that support the husband wholeheartedly, take care of the children, and make the home a conducive place so that at the end of the day, both the husband and the children are running home.
They should be submissive to their own husband. Challenges will come, trials will come, but in all, we should have patience.
Feel will help every woman to be virtuous or to be an outstanding mother is communication. When you learn to communicate, even up to the word of God in your home, I think it will help to ease a whole lot of stress.
Endeavor to be virtuous, because at the end of the day, a virtuous woman means it all. It might look like we're fools, but at the end of the day, we tend to gain everything, because when you're virtuous, you earn the love of your husband.
The service featured special choir administration and thanksgiving.
Esther Oputa reporting.
The federal government has commenced the review of the nation's visa and immigration policy to bolster the ease of doing business in the country. Minister of Interior Dr. Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo, who disclosed this at a stakeholders consultative meeting on Nigeria's visa policy yesterday in Abuja, said there was need to remove the bottlenecks which had continued to encumber access to the country by foreign investors and tourists alike. He said Nigeria would also endeavor to strike a balance on the principle of reciprocity in issuance of visas to foreigners seeking to enter the country without losing the economic value. Dr. Tunji-Ojo noted that government would leverage technology to automate the visa application process to reduce the duration for vetting and approval, as it was with the analog process. He observed that for people coming into the country for a short stay for tourism using short stay visas, there was no reason to wait for more than 72 hours to get a Nigerian visa, stressing that technology was a catalyst to enhance efficiency. The Socioeconomic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP, and 136 concerned Nigerians have filed a lawsuit against the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, over its failure to withdraw the patently unlawful circular directing all banks and other financial institutions to deduct from customers' accounts a cybersecurity levy. It could be recalled that CBN had last week directed banks to implement a levy of 0.5% equivalent to 0.5% of all electronic transactions and to remit the levy to the National Cybersecurity Fund. The CBN relied on the Cybercrime Act 2015 as amended, and therefore it is unconstitutional, null and void. The plaintiffs stressed the need for the court to determine whether the CBN circular dated 6 May 2024 directing financial institutions to deduct from customers' accounts a cybersecurity levy is unlawful and therefore ultra-vires the CBN. The plaintiffs are asking the court for a declaration that the CBN circular dated 6 May 2024 directing all banks and other financial institutions to deduct from customers' accounts a cybersecurity levy is contrary to the provisions of the Cybercrimes Act and ultra-vires the CBN, and therefore is illegal, null and void. SERAP noted that the Nigerian government has a legal responsibility to ensure the security and welfare of the people in the Nigerian Constitution and human rights treaties to which Nigeria is a state party. It added that CBN circular is also a blatant violation of Nigerian human rights, including the right to property guaranteed in the Nigerian Constitution. The ongoing sale of forms for aspirants for the July 13 council elections in the state under the People's Democratic Party, the PDP, will end on Wednesday this week. According to the timetable released by the party, aspirants are to submit their completed forms from Thursday through Saturday, the 18th of May, while screening of aspirants will take place from Saturday through Monday next week. Chairman of the state PDP, Olorogo Kingsley Esiso, said the party would entertain appeals arising from the screening on Tuesday next week, while ward congresses to elect councillorship candidates and their 3 ad hoc delegates will hold Friday of that same week. According to the timetable, primaries for the party's aspirants for chairmanship position and appeals arising from the ward congresses is scheduled for Saturday, May 25, while Sunday, May 26 is for the party runoff primaries and consideration of appeals from the chairmanship primaries. The state PDP chairman expressed confidence that the party would emerge victorious in all the local government elections. The Director General, World Trade Organization, WTO, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, has called for more women inclusion and participation in leadership positions. Dr. Okonjo-Iweala made the call while addressing newsmen after a meeting with Duchess of Sussex, Meghan, and other women at the Nigerian Women in Leadership event yesterday in Abuja. She emphasized that women had continued to face many challenges trying to become leaders, adding that during the deliberations, the women and the Duchess exchanged their views on various issues and also discussed the way forward in ensuring more women participation in leadership positions. According to her, it was imperative to increase the percentage of women in leadership positions, both in the states and at the federal government levels, noting that the issue discussed during the conversation with the Duchess bordered on areas such as the challenges that women face in trying to become leaders and how they could overcome them. Dr. Okonjo-Iweala further said that they also discussed how women could support themselves and also improve their position in the country. She said the highlight of the event was the Duchess sharing her experiences, while she also shared her experiences and journey so far, adding that the meeting with the Duchess was a wonderful exchange. On the Nigeria's trade deficit, The WTO boss said there was need for the country to continue to diversify to add more value to the economy. She said the country must do more to attract investment domestically, not just from outside, but by the wealthy people in the country, while the government must also create the environment, adding that this would persuade them to invest in certain production and in different kinds of industries to attract people from outside. The National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons said it is tracking persons who uploaded obscene photos of a girl believed to be not more than 5 years old. This followed an alert from social media users who drew the attention of the agency to the pictures. Among the photos was a flyer announcing a birthday bash for the minor on May 28, 2024, at Spring Leaders Montessori School in Auchi, Edo State. An Instagram user by the name Ms. Ezani called NAPTIP's attention to photos shared on the Instagram accounts at official Sarah /IG and at black/sheriff/justice. The Instagram user said the men that have the 5-year-old girl are definitely peddling her for sex, hence many pictures of her in adult places. She appealed to anyone with the right authorities to get hold of these men, tags, or anything reported on their pages, stressing that the baby is in danger, noting that whatever is happening to the child is happening online, so it's not enough to just report the page. The Instagram user stressed the need for persons with information to continue to retweet and tag until it gets to the appropriate quarters. Meanwhile, NAPTIP has replied on its X account, thanking all respondents for bringing the obscenity to their attention, adding that it is child sexual abuse and it is criminal. A middle-aged woman, Abike Olonade, has been arrested for trafficking a 16-year-old student to Libya. It was reliably guarded that the victim, whose name is yet to be disclosed, is a student of Adioye Lambo Secondary School in Obadaoko, a Wetoro local government area of Ogun State. Confirming the arrest, the command spokesperson, Omolola Oduntola, in a statement in Abeokuta yesterday, said the suspect confessed to trafficking the victim to Libya. She said one Abike Olonade has been arrested for trafficking a 16-year-old student of Ademoye Lambo Secondary School in Obadaoko, Ogun State. The statement said the traffickers has confessed that the victim has been trafficked to Libya. Some of the abducted students of Confluence University of the Science and Technology, Osara, Kogi State, by yet to be identified gunmen, have been safely rescued by the concerted efforts of security agencies, hunters, and vigilante groups. The Kogi State Commissioner for Information and Communication, Mr. Kingsley Fanwo, announced this in a statement today, said local vigilante men and security agents engaged the kidnappers in a fierce shootout, with the kidnappers succumbing to superior firepower and escaping with gun wounds, leaving the kidnapped students who also ran in different directions to avoid being caught up in the fire exchange. The statement said many of the students kidnapped, as well as other people in captivity, were rescued in the early hours of today and taken to medical facilities for proper attention, adding that security agents were currently combing the forest to ensure that all the kidnapped students were found and brought home safely. He commended local hunters and the conventional security agents for their bravery and gallantry, giving special mention of the DSS for acting on credible intelligence to coordinate a fearless confrontation on the outlaws. The immediate past governor of Rivers State and Minister of Federal Capital Territory, FCT, Mr. Nyesom Wike, has apologized to the people of Rivers State for choosing Governor Siminalayi Fubara as his successor. Mr. Wike's apology came as the People's Democratic Party, the PDP, declared that the members of the State House of Assembly who defected to the All Progressives Congress, APC, are mere former members and urge the APC and the affected legislators to forget any possibility of ever taking charge of the state, which the main opposition party said is now under its full control. The Rivers State immediate past governor made the apology at Ogu Town in Ogbolo local government area of the state during a Thanksgiving ceremony held in honor of Senator George Sekibo, who celebrated 20 years of service at the National Assembly and 36 years of his life in public service. In his remarks at the event yesterday, he appealed to the people of Ogu Bolo local government to forgive him, saying that people should appreciate whoever that was instrumental to their elevation, adding that God cannot come down to help anyone, but will use someone to accomplish that, while condemning ingratitude in the lives of some individuals. The minister noted that nobody could be completely free from mistakes, stressing that he has made a mistake and has asked God to forgive him, promising to correct it at the appropriate time. Addressing the lawmaker representing Ogbolo constituency in the House of Assembly, who defected from the PDP to the APC, Mr. Arnold not to be frightened that no one will remove him as an assembly member. In a related development, the State Police Command said that it has deployed policemen and armored personnel carriers, APCS, to the residential quarters of members of the State House of Assembly in Port Harcourt to prevent a breakdown of law and order. Meanwhile, a former national chairman of the PDP, Prince Uche Secondus, has accused Mr. Wike of being the mastermind of the current charged political atmosphere in Rivers State. The Adamawa and Taraba Command of the Nigerian Customs Service, NCS, says it has recently seized 12,435 liters of premium motor spirits, PMS, worth 10.8 million naira. The Customs Area Controller in charge of the command, Bashir Garba Bature, made the disclosure while briefing newsmen in Yola. Mr. Garba Bature said the seized items included 491 times 25 liters and 8 times 20 liters jerrycans of the commodity, saying that the petroleum was intercepted in moving route to the Cameroon Republic. He assured that the command would sustain the fight against the menace of smuggling, saying that the command has strategically deployed operatives along the flashpoints, while soliciting the cooperation, understanding, and collaboration of relevant stakeholders such as the media, other security agencies, and patriotic citizens to effectively put an end to the ugly trend of smuggling. Mr. Bature said the fight was everyone's business. And still to come, hundreds of protesters gather in the Tunisian capital to protest amid economic and political crisis. Stay with us. The global scene is next as we join our world news desk.
Has told tens of thousands more Palestinians to leave Rafah as it intensifies military operations in southern Gaza. Flyers dropped from the air and posts on social media told residents in the city's eastern district to go to Al-Mawasi, a narrow coastal area which Israel calls an expanded humanitarian zone. Parts of Rafah where the streets were packed with locals and displaced people just days ago now look like a ghost town. Israel has said it will proceed with planned operations in Rafah despite the U.S. and other allies warning that a ground offensive could lead to mass civilian casualties and a humanitarian crisis. Yesterday, U.S. President Joe Biden said a ceasefire in Gaza was possible as soon as the next day if Hamas released its hostages. Israel says 128 people taken hostage by Hamas on 7th October are unaccounted for, 36 of whom are presumed dead. Catalans voted today in a regional election that offers the possibility of the return to power of a separatist politician who led a breakaway attempt in 2017, or an anti-independence government led by the Socialist Party. A Catalan government led by the Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez, socialist, will end a decade of separatist governments that have ruled Spanish politics and will be a vindication of Sanchez's conciliatory approach with the region. However, probably have to govern with alliances since no party looks likely to reach the 68 seats threshold for a majority on its own, meaning today's votes could herald the start of coalition talks lasting well beyond the election. Candidate is Carles Puigdemont, who was a Catalonian president during the ill-fated attempt to wrest the region from Spain in 2017 before he fled to self-imposed exile in Belgium. Puigdemont has 4 years faced prosecution in Spain over the independence bid and campaigned from southern France, but he is set to return home following an amnesty put forward by the socialist government in Madrid that would annul his arrest warrant and has vowed to resurrect an independent. Hundreds of protesters gathered in the Tunisian capital today to demand the release of the imprisoned journalists, activists, and opposition figures and the setting of a date for fair presidential elections. The protest comes amid an economic and political crisis and a wave of arrests targeting journalists, lawyers, activists, and opponents. Tunisian police stormed the building of the Deanship of Lawyers yesterday and arrested Sonia Damani, a lawyer known for her fierce criticism of Presidential Kais Saied. 2 journalists were also arrested on the same day. The Election Commission said earlier that the election would be held on time, but with the president's first term, which lasts for 5 years, drawing a close, it has not so far announced a date. Saied took office following free elections in 2019, but 2 years later seized additional powers when they shut down the elect parliament and moved to the rule by decree. He also assumed authority over the judiciary, a step that opposition called a coup. Saied has repeatedly criticized what he described as the opposition scramble for the presidency, saying they had boycotted the last round of parliament elections while focusing on the presidential votes. The opposition says that the political climate is not currently suitable for holding elections amid restrictions on the press and the imprisonment of prominent opponents and activists. They called for a clean political climate for a vote that includes an end to restrictions on press and political freedoms.
Back home and in business, let's join our business news desk for happenings in the business sector.
The Nigerian Naira has recorded another loss against the US dollar in the foreign exchange market. Data from FMDQ Securities shows that the Naira crashed to 1,466 Naira 31 kobo to a dollar on Friday on the official Nigerian Autonomous Foreign Exchange Market, NAFEM. The pressure on the Naira was clearly evident as during intraday trading at the NAFEM window, some participants paid as high as 1,490 to purchase a dollar. The fall of the Naira is despite a rise in the supply of forex into the spot market as the turnover stood at $113.78 million, higher than the record a day earlier. The CBN data also showed that the Naira lost 135 Naira of its value against the pound sterling in the official market on Friday, selling at 1,800.62 naira per dollar compared with the preceding day's 1,765.90 naira per dollar. Meanwhile, Nigeria's naira has reversed recent gains and it may yet come under more pressure as more foreign exchange commitments fall due. Razia Khan, chief economist for Africa and the Middle East at Standard Chartered, estimated that $1.3 billion in naira futures will mature at the end of this month, weighing on market sentiment. He said the belief is that this will create more demand for dollars. The naira is now the worst performing currency in the last month, increasing pressure on the central bank to keep raising interest rates. Nigeria's local currency has slipped to 1,466.31 to the dollar, its weakest level since March 20, hurt by the local supply of the U.S. currency, which on Thursday halved from the day before to just $84 million. And the exchange rate for import duties collection by the Nigerian Customs Service (NCS) has risen to 1,457 naira per dollar, the highest in just over 6 weeks, according to checks on the exchange rate portal of the NCS. According to data on the portal, the current custom exchange rate is the highest since the 22nd of March 2024, when the figure stood at 1,572.5 naira per dollar. There has been a gradual appreciation of the naira after that, occasioned by policies of the Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN), which saw the NCS exchange rate fall to a 3-month low of 1,147 naira per dollar.
And in sports, Nigerian multiple African men's singles badminton champion Mr. Anuoluwapo Opeyori has qualified for the Paris 2024 Olympic Games. According to the Badminton World Federation (BWF), Mr. Opeyori, who is a 2-time African Games champion, made history by becoming the first Nigerian badminton player to make it to the Olympics back-to-back 2020 and 2024. Mr. Opeyori dominated Africa in the men's singles from 2019 till date, winning 4 African Championship titles and 2 African Games titles. The elected president of the Badminton Federation of Nigeria, BFN, Mr. Francis Obi, while speaking to Newsbend yesterday, said that Mr. Anuoluwapo Opeyori has broken the jinx in Nigeria badminton by making it to the Olympic Games in Paris. Mr. Obi said Opeyori's qualification shows that the current leadership of the Badminton Federation of Nigeria, BFN, target of producing world-class players is beginning to manifest. He revealed that BFN will leave no stone unturned in supporting the dreams and aspirations of the young players in making podium finishes. And still in sports, Nigeria's Tobi Amusa stumped to a big win in the women's 100 meters hurdles today at the Jamaica Athletics Invitational. The Jamaica Athletics Invitational is a Continental Tour silver meet. Amusa clocked a season's best of 12.40 seconds to win the race. The 27-year-old beat Jamaica's Danielle Williams, who ran 12.46 seconds, while Christiana Clemons of the United States placed third with 12.54 seconds. She has now taken over the world. She had now taken over the world lead from American Tony Marshall, who had run 12.42 seconds in late April. The Ogun State-born athlete is a World, Commonwealth, and African record holder in the women's 100 meters hurdles. The Super Eagles head coach, Mr. Finidi George, says invitation to all Super Eagles players for the opening camp for the crucial 2026 at South Africa on Saturday, June 6, 2024. The list of players that will prosecute the game is expected to be released next week. The encounter is slated for the Godswill Akpabio International Stadium, Uyo, on Friday, June 7. The 3-time African champions will also face the Squirrels of Benin a few days later. The Super Eagles are yet to record a win in the qualifiers after drawing their opening 2 games against Lesotho and Zimbabwe. Here is our thought for the day. Work hard for what you want because it will not come to you without a fight. And that's the news segment of Dateline. My name is Princess Modi. Good evening and enjoy your night.